welcome into CBSLA's High School Football Coaches Roundtable. Chris Hayre with you alongside four outstanding football coaches in Southern California. Let's introduce them. Bruce Rollinson, Mater Dei, Jason Negro, St. John Bosco, Arnold Ale, Carson High, and Kevin Pearson, Warren High. Gentlemen, can't thank you enough for your time. Coach Rollinson, let's start with you. I want to get your reaction to the CIF's decision to cancel fall championships and delay practices until at least the beginning of 2021.
Well, I mean, if I've learned anything in the last 9 months, you got to be flexible. My first reaction was straight to my kids. I had to figure out, how do I relay this message to them, and try to spin a positive on it. Obviously, we still have a shot at playing. I didn't have a lot of details, but I knew it was released publicly. So I knew I had to get out in front of it right after practice last night. So I did what I always do. I just tried to give them as much information. I'm not, I'm transparent. This is what they're saying. There's still a lot of, I don't know what's going on. To be honest, I still don't know when we're playing. My athletic director just came in and stuck something in my face, but I didn't have a chance to read it because I guess the Trinity League athletic directors just had a meeting. So maybe I'll get more details from her. And then I had a sidebar conversation with Jason, and that confused me, not because he's not clear. It's just I had read it one way and I think he read it a different way. So, we're to me, we're where we've always been. There's no communication and we really don't know what we're doing. And I'll be honest with you. If we'd have just let them play, gone through the adversity of the season, we'd be done right now. Or else, one of the two of us might be in a state championship game. And that's the nuts and bolts of it, and we're still trying to figure out when we're going to play. And then you get into, okay, we're going to play 2 seasons in 1 year and things like that. But the positive is we still have a hope of teeing it up. I'm a ball coach. That's what I do. I want to protect my players. I want to give them the opportunity to play the game of football.
Coach Negro, obviously a fluid situation. What was your message to the team when you guys got this news?
It's very similar to what Coach Rollinson said. I try to get out in front of it with our kids. I want to still try to provide to them a lot of hope and positivity. So I basically told my guys, I said, look, this is just another obstacle, in our way to try to continue to navigate this virus. It's something that, we've never had to deal with. It's unprecedented. I don't have the answers. It's not like I could go and take a look at any type of manual to say, okay, this is what they did, back in the 80s when there was a situation like this. So basically what I'm trying to do is learn through the process along with the kids. And I think at the end of the day, as an educator, all you want to do is try to provide a little bit of positivity and allow the kids to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. They haven't, really canceled anything yet. It's just everything is kind of pushed back and delayed a little bit. So as long as the kids continue to be able to practice, they continue to be able to show up here on campus and be able to go through some workouts, I think that I, as a coach and as a leader of this program, can keep them motivated enough to get through the Christmas holiday, find out what they're going to say in January. And like Coach said, hopefully kick it off sometime into January, 1st of February, and then we could get our complete season in. So that's what I'm hopeful for. And that's the messaging that I'm going to continue to portray to my student athletes.
Coach Ali, adversity's part of football. What have the last several months been like for you at Carson High?
Well, for us, it's kind of a different challenge with our district. We just got approval as far as conditioning, November 9th, and our school has yet to even hit the field. So it's been challenging for me to get these kids interested because we have yet to even hold a practice on our campus. And all we have now is, since August, was our 6th period football Zoom class. So, you can only watch so much film. And, eventually these kids are going to get restless. And, the challenge is right now has been clearance, trying to get our kids cleared to even see the field first. So this is just another obstacle that we all found out last night. And so I just broke the news to our team about an hour ago during our 6-period Zoom class that, it looks like as of now, everything's canceled. We'll know more in January. And, all we can do is control what we can control. And that's making sure all of our paperwork is in and we're all cleared. And hopefully we can get back to campus and start practicing or conditioning.
Coach Pearson, what unique challenges have you had to face during these last several months leading up to last night at Warren High?
Oh, you mean with just not playing football, period? It was in June, we were able to practice condition, and we did that for 5 weeks. And obviously can't have a ball. You had to stay in pods, can't do team work. We did individual periods without balls, which was interesting. And my athletic director said it was one of the happiest moments she's ever had, and one of the saddest moments she ever had when she watched our first week of practice. And our message to the kids was, we're transparent, we were honest, and we don't know we're going to play. The CIF says, December 14th. So we're going to shoot for December 14th. We were big on effort. We said that we're going to use this whole summer. It's going to be nothing about effort. If you can give every ounce of effort you have in every rep, then when the ball comes, it's going to be easy. We're going to be rolling and having a great time. But the problem is we got shut down after 5 weeks. We started back in September and no ball again. And so there was a lot of kids that lost a lot of hope. And but the message was the same. If we do play, and I wasn't going to lie to him, I said, I have no clue. Other states are playing, we're not. We're going in the middle of flu, so we can't have a ball in July. My thing was, I'm not sure how we can play when the flu season, middle of flu season. So, but we said when the clock strikes 12, we're going to be ready, and we're going to prepare and be ready. So we're not going to be the team that didn't do anything. We're going to be great condition, technique, where we're going to be as great as we can. So we got the ball 3 weeks ago. Like I said, we're in a passing tournament right now. I'm in Arizona. We're on our lunch break during the seating, and the kids are having a great time. They're having a wonderful time, and it's really fun to see them out there. They just want to compete and be with their teammates. And I think the second biggest factor, maybe the first, is just the lost relationships we have. And all us coaches know we spend so much time with these young men, and they really become part of our family. And we know so much about their family situations and their personal situations, and we get so involved with them. And these lifelong relationships we form, some of them are, it's sad that we can't spend time with them. So we were so happy just being around the kids again, kids being around us. It was taken away the second time in September. We started it up again. But just the meeting times, I think that's one of the biggest challenges, meeting every day before practice, our install meetings or whatever. We're going over games from the day before, whatever our meetings were. We have first period football, weightlifting. We have 80 minutes of seeing them every day, grinding, and it's kind of, taken out from out of the rug from them. And it's sad, but our message again too is, how are you going to respond? We can't control anything but our effort and attitude. So we're going to control our controllables, and it's a life lesson. It's a life lesson, how men are going to lose jobs. There's going to be sickness in families, unfortunately deaths. How do we respond to those situations? And this is unfortunately a early lesson for these young men to go through, and all of us as well.
I want to bring up the fact that at the end of the day, these are still young men. They go through a lot on a daily basis. They're not just football players. Coach Negro, I know how much of an emphasis really all four of you coaches put on just being a complete person in the classroom, on the field, and just life in general. How concerned are you with the fact that these kids are down right now? They're not around their teammates. They're not around their friends. They're not around their coaches. And they're just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen next. What kind of responsibility do you guys put on yourselves during this pandemic right now, Coach?
Well, as a leader and as an educator, it's our responsibility as coaches. And, all four of us are leading programs, and we understand that we have, kind of the mental health of our student athletes in our hands. And I think that's where it has become most difficult. I've learned so many skill sets outside of the coaching arena in terms of X's and O's over this last, 7-8, months, in terms of trying to motivate young men, trying to talk about positivities, trying to give these kids a glimmer of hope. in a time that is so uncertain. And I think that the thing that for me that is most difficult is the inconsistencies that we see not only in our own state, but across the country. You know, I think there's something like 44 states that are playing football and figuring out how to get through this. USC, UCLA, the Rams, the Chargers, everybody's playing football. And these kids are sitting there saying, wait a minute, I happen to be in the smallest, least restricted or least vulnerable group for this particular virus. And I'm the one that's not being able to participate. I just don't get it. You know, and I'm not a medical expert, so I can't go and tell those guys, listen, this is the reason why you can't play, because we don't get any kind of guidance from the state legislature. We don't get any guidance from the governor, our mayor, the health department. Nobody has even addressed youth sports. And that's the thing that is so frustrating to me, because I'm the one in the grassroots with the kids every single day, having to tell them things that I don't even have answers to. And I think if it was more consistent, if there was more communication, and they gave these kids an actual, you know, timeline as to what we're going to be doing, it would be a lot easier for us as educators to do the jobs that we were hired to do. So that's the thing that I think that we need to continue to press and push forward. And that's the reason why I'm happy to have this platform today, is to try to let people know it's important for you to help us out, because we're dealing with the least vulnerable group here in terms of this virus, and they're the ones that have the most restrictions placed upon them. Explain that to me. That's what I want to know. And that's the reason why I'm frustrated. But as a coach, as an educator, as somebody who's trying to mentor young people, I have to put my best foot forward. I have to believe and trust in the process. And like coaches have said, we're going to control the things we can control. And right now that's coming to practice every day, practicing, lifting, preparing ourselves for when the season does come, that we're going to be in the best position possible to be successful. Because again, that's what I am. I'm a coach, I'm an educator, and that's what I'm going to do as long as it takes for my football program here at Bosco.
Coach Rollinson, your senior class, describe what they're going through right now. I imagine you've had countless senior classes. You know what a big year this is for those kids' lives. What are they going through right now as we tape this?
You know, I second what Jason said, first of all, and I admire, you know, that he came forward, because he's just talking for all of us, and that's exactly the way we all feel. You know, I start with the senior class, and now I'm going to go above high school. I don't understand the NCAA. They throw a dead period at us, okay, which, you know, they extend till April 15th. So they just took the seniors out of recruiting. And basically, if you had an offer, you better have committed. And we all have those seniors who have been in your program 3 years, and maybe they played, you know, some as a junior, but this was their year. They're going to start. I've got probably 4 to 6 recruitable young men who have waited for their chance. They are the man that is up, and they're not going to get any exposure other than all the phone calls that I can make, a recruiting service that I became part of. But it's a tough battle for them. And that's the group. I wake up in the middle of the night and I go, I hope I don't have to tell that group that there is no season. You know, Jason mentioned it, and the other coaches are on the same page. Okay, we're old enough to understand, yet we have sleepless nights because of the finances in our programs and things like that. I look, and we got 17-year-olds who may not go to college, who would go to college on a full scholarship, maybe not to USC or UCLA, but they, you know, the Mountain West type of kid, you know, and that opportunity is not there for them anymore. I can call Montana State, all those guys a million times, but they don't get to see them, you know. And here we are, you know, even if you're jumping over frickin' bags, which is, we could have a championship for that, you know, that's all we've been doing. But at least they would come out and physically see these kids. Okay, so that I got that off my chest. That's one that fascinates me. The seniors, that's the group that I spend the most time with. You know, because if we go, that's your leadership base. Your seniors are the guys that have got to carry you. most likely that's where your captains are going to come out of. Rare years, you might have a junior captain. And they build the chemistry. They create the chemistry. And like Coach Pearson was saying, we didn't have them for the summer. We didn't have them for blocks of time when the chemistry and that camaraderie is built. And where we, like Jason and everybody said, where we are able to teach them those life lessons, okay, and our values and the core beliefs of our programs, which don't vary very much. And now all of a sudden I got, 28 guys or 27 or whatever the number is that are in limbo. And they're the ones that I worry about. I read an interesting statistic. It said there were more teen suicides on a day than there were COVID cases. Okay. That's when I said, mental health and I know confidentiality, but we probably all have had kids that we've had to refer to the professionals who can't deal with this. And they're mostly in your senior class. The juniors are still going to get recruited. They have the hope of August or September of 21. It settles down. We get a vaccine. And by the way, I'll be the first one in line to get that bad boy. Okay. But maybe it settles down, but these seniors, I'm really glad you brought that up, because that's the class that's hung out to dry and is going to suffer the most damage. This is like Vietnam, all these monumental dates in our history. They're always going to remember 2020. We'll all remember 2020.
Coach Ale, you talk about the senior class. This is personal for you, not only as a coach, but as a father.
Yeah, both personally and professionally, this really affects me because my son is, he's going to be a senior, and he got hurt his junior year. So he missed the majority of his junior year. So he only has sophomore film. And so what's difficult for him is like Coach Rollinson said, who's going to come out and see him? Well, no one's going to come out and see him because he won't have that opportunity. And, I know I'm a father, but I've been around football long enough to know, he can play at the Division I level. Unfortunately, the way the situation is now that, he doesn't have film. He doesn't have film from his junior year, or he won't have film for his senior year. And so that affects him. Even though deep down in my heart, I know he can play at that next level. Unfortunately, things don't look very good for him. So it affects me both personally, and also professionally, being involved in football for a while now, as all these coaches, we all feel for our seniors. We all wish we can help them move on to the next level and help their families out. But, unfortunately, that's going to be tough this year. So, all we can do now is, I know it's tough, and a lot of coaches say it a lot, but we just control what we control. And that's how I approach it as a parent too.
Coach Pearson, we talk about, the example that Coach Ale just brought up. These kids can develop very quickly from year to year. So for a college not having that opportunity to see a kid, what personal experience are you going through right now with your kids?
There's so many of them. In January, and December, January, in the college, when the dead period was lifted, and after December, and the coaches were coming through, and particularly in January, there were so many of our kids, and I'm saying 8 to 10, and I'm not even exaggerating, where college coaches said they want to come back and see us in spring, and then spring came. We want to see game film. Well, there's none of that, and then if you add to the fact that, and I agree with Coach Rollinson so much on the NCAA, they have had 2 dead periods they've extended now, which to me makes literally zero sense. I just cannot believe they're even doing that. And you have the fact that the seniors are getting an extra year. And so when the colleges decide what programs decide what kids are going to bring back, then you have the portal that has 1 million kids in it. Then you got some JC kids from last year. There's going to be very few scholarships available for these seniors, very few. And now that you don't have film, you don't have anything. It's rough. It's horrible. We in the summer, we did a combine thing. I'm sure most schools did it, and we filmed it, and we sent it to a bunch of college coaches. We got a couple smaller school offers out of it, which was better than nothing, but it's not optimal. I mean, we have some kids really, as Coach Ale's son, who can play at the next level, legit guys, and with the limited scholarship offers this year and no film, it's really frustrating. And now, you know, the CIF says that we can't coach our own kids in club ball. So now these street agent sharks are out like crazy right now and forming all these teams, and we can't coach them. So my fear is now, you know, these club leagues are starting like I'm hearing it all over the place. I mean, and if we can't control our kids, these street agents are going to get a hold of them like they do now. And if they form leagues, these college coaches, and when the dead period begins April 15th this year, they're going to be going to these facilities to watch them play, and they're not going to visit our schools. They're not going to talk to us. There's no reason to. There's not even any reason for kids to go to high school practice anymore. And, you know, I mean, for the most part, there's some kids who might just want to play club, homeschool, play club league, and you know, be on with it. You know, and so that's where I think I think we're really getting. I think there's a failure from somewhere in the state where they're not allowing us to coach in the spring on these clubs, because right now it seems if we do not play, clubs all there is for these kids now. And so by taking them away from us, I just don't see any benefit at all. I just don't. And it's going to benefit. It's going to make some guys rich, some of these straight agents guys rich, and give them more control over the kids. And you know, Adidas or someone's going to come in and sponsor these guys, and it's going to be a mess. And so, you know, my explanation to me was that because the state, it takes a year to change a blue book rule, that the principals have to agree and all this, and they're going to stay with the blue book. Well, I mean, this last time we had a pandemic was no one was alive, I don't think, barely in high school sports now, at least, and including coaches. And so I just wish they would make a decision and let us at least coach during a club season, so we can at least clean out these kids, and then we can produce better film. The kids are protected. They're in a controlled environment, you know. So that's my real frustration with what's going on right now at this point.
Gentlemen, so much great information in this roundtable. I want to give each of you just one final thought, and we'll start with Coach Ale. Anything you'd like to get out there as you guys try to push forward during some uncertainty right now?
For me, my situation is to continue to, look after my team as far as their social, emotional well-being. Like I mentioned before, we're not even on the field yet. We're not in the weight room. We're just in the classroom Zooming. So, right now it's just to look over these guys, their social, emotional well-being. And that's all we can do because, we're not involved in any kind of activity, which is sad. But, I agree with a lot of what was said about the club situation. That might be the route to go for a lot of our kids. And this is, our district. We just started phase 1, November 9th. So we're behind. CIFLA is behind. But, it's just hard. And just dealing with the kids and their social, emotional well-being is probably what we're doing from our district standpoint.
Coach Pearson, final word from you.
I just telling our kids that, I told them I'm in it with you guys. I said, we're going to figure something out. We're going to play somehow, some way. If I have to hire a whole club team, coaches, I'll find guys. They're going to coach it, and we're going to be together as a group. And the kids have already agreed they want to stay together. So, and trust me, I've been hit up by more than one organization for my kids to play in these teams and on all kinds of other weird stuff. So we agreed as a team that we're going to stay together and we're going to figure something out so we can be together and not get totally robbed of what COVID's doing to us, but, and then again, like all the coaches said, we're positive. We were talking about this today in this facility as a staff that these kids got to know we're still blessed. I mean, there's a lot of people who are dying. There's a lot of people in hospitals their age eating out of a tube that wish they can be in their situation. Yeah. We have a lot to be thankful for amidst what's happening in this world. And if you count your blessings, you wake up in a better mood and you're more productive.
It's important to have perspective. Coach Negro.
For me, the most important thing, the last message that I would like to say is I would like from the local government, the state government, to please start to communicate a little bit more and at least put out some guidelines, some restrictions, and show us a path forward in terms of trying to get these kids back into competitive sport environments. I mean, if you take a look at this, we shut things down in March. I think it was around March 12th, March 13th. It was completely shut down. So these kids have not been doing anything, and they're the ones that have been affected the most by this. A lot of the seniors from the class of 2020 were affected because their spring sport seasons were canceled. And then we move into, obviously into the fall, and now the fall sports continue to be pushed back and things like that. What I want the state and the local governments to do is give kids a chance. These kids weren't even given a chance to participate in competitive sports environments and show that we can navigate this and we can do it in a safe manner. They weren't given a chance. They were completely shut off from being able to do this. And you still see the COVID numbers rising. It's not because of youth sports. So why not, for us as a state, as local government, allow the kids to continue for the health and the well-being of them from a mental side of things, allow them to continue to participate, navigate the virus like the other states in the country have been able to do, and then allow these guys to get back at it, or at least provide us some sort of guidelines at which we're going to have to follow in order to, make this become a reality. Because at the end of the day, since March 13th to today, which is December 2nd, the only ones that have really been restricted have been the kids. So I really don't understand why, we are putting all, in a sense, the blame of the virus on them, when the numbers are still shooting up all over the place. So again, I'm not a health expert. All I'm going to try to do is advocate for young men. I have 2 daughters that are in high school as well that are affected by this. And nothing more do I want is for them to be able to have a normal senior and freshman, years. And right now they're being stripped of that. So I want kids to be given a chance to show that we can do this in a health and safety way. And if the local and the state governments could just give them that chance, that's all we want. Give us a chance. And hopefully the kids and the families and the coaches and the educators could show we can do this. That's what I'd like to say.
Appreciate it, Coach. Coach Rollinson, last word. And I think of your motto during these challenging times too, Coach. You create the effort, God controls the outcome.
I appreciate the honesty of the coaches that spoke today, and they all know how much I respect them. I think everybody should look at the title on their desk, on their door, and you're leaders. You're leaders. And then take a deep breath. Think about if you have children yourself. Think about your neighbor's children, okay, boys and girls, and think of them and stop with all of this mumbo jumbo, passing the ball down the tracks further and further. Let's make some decisions. Let's think of the health of these young adolescents that we're in charge of. And it's not about Mater Dei playing Bosco or anything like that. It's about physical activity. We got 9 million books sitting on our bookshelves that talk about the benefits of competitive athletics, the benefits of physical education, the benefits of exercise. And like Coach Ali said, they're not even doing that yet in the city. Okay, what are we doing? What are we thinking? How much time can they spend on their computers? Are they really getting educated with online learning? Okay, come on. We all know it's going down the tracks too fast. It's time for everybody to stop and say, okay, we're not going to do anything that's not safe for the kids. We're not going to do anything outside the guidelines that they give us. Okay, make some decisions and let's go forward. Yeah, there's going to be cases. Okay, it's just like when you have the flu bug, during November when we're in the playoffs. It's one of my biggest fears over all the years that I've coached. And it wasn't called COVID, it was called the flu. And you knew if one kid got it, you could count on six more not being 100% for the Friday night game. And it's usually happened in the playoffs. You know, we deal with it. The next man up. We can cover this. Turn it over to us who are in the trenches with the youth, and let us do our thing, you know, and hopefully somebody's listening today. You know, it's not about trying to win a championship anymore. It's about trying to put these kids back on the fields, back on the courts, and getting them the proper physical and mental training that they get, and might as well get them back in school. You know, you know, we're not going to solve the problem. We're not, you know, and then, you know, if a vaccination comes out, let's go get it. And the next thing you know, it's springtime and everybody's got a spring in their step. That's my hope. And that's my prayer.
Well, gentlemen, we could have probably gone another 30 minutes, but I can't thank you enough for your time and getting your message out there, your personal experiences. Bruce Rollinson, Jason Negro, Arnold Ale, and Kevin Pearson. Appreciate it, guys.